You mentioned competition. Let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, the one natural comparison I think people are likely to make when they look at Visme is Canva. And I want to talk a little bit about how you think about that space and how you are differentiating what you do. Interesting enough, I interviewed Melanie Perkins. I think she was like one of the first 5 or 10 people I interviewed when I started this podcast in 2014. And Canva had been around for like a year or two. At the time, I had no idea, where that was going to go. And I think both Visme and Canva probably started around the same time. They probably had a bit more luck and growth. I don't know where they are in terms of like 100 million plus users right now. So just as you look at that, and that's probably the elephant in the room, one of these big competitors. How do you think about Visme, and how are you differentiating the product?
First, I would say all respect to Canva and everything they've accomplished. I think they're essentially one of the top startups out there. And there's a few things that we've done differently, and there's a few things that are very similar and also very different. So let me go through this because it's actually very important for people to know, because that often is the part, is when there's a certain level of brand awareness to a product or brand out there. You don't really, the immediate thing is, how are you different at? So for us, it was always, how are you different at PowerPoint? How are you different at PowerPoint, right? So it's still that, but also how are you different in Canva and so on? How are you different in these other tools? But they are the essentially. So we are very similar in that it's all-in-one design, all-in-one, whiteboarding, presentations, documents, all of those we have and they have as well. The route and approach that was taken was very different. One, I literally say that the product was just an experiment side project for like the first few years. So we don't really get serious about it in 2015 or 16. And at that point, they had gained a lot of momentum. And another one was we never raised funds. So we've been completely bootstrapped to date, profitable since essentially, 2015 or so. And also the approach that they took and we took was very different. I think they took a very bottoms-up approach, open it up to all students, educators. It's free for all. Very good, very low price point, and free actually for the first few years. There's not even paywall on it, if I recall correctly. And also for everybody, it's like to democratize design for everyone, So ours was never really about that. Like we didn't have social graphics until years later. We didn't do any of those. It was like infographics, presentations, interactivity, ability to like hover over and show something, animations and so on. So our route was a much smaller audience that were looking for interactivity, animations and so on. Their route was, I'm guessing that design for all. So a lot more people designing graphics than they are creating a pitch deck for their business, right? Later on, they added those things. So by then they built this huge following and so on. Our mission was totally opposite, like top to the bottom. It's like eventually, we want to allow people to, while they're creating the pitch deck and so on for their business, do that. So we're more business related. And as a result, the user base also is smaller. And we took a slower route and a later route to really start to ramp up. Our product, when you go inside of it, when you go through templates, you're going to see almost most templates are for your business use case. So the design and the type and the quality of the graphics, the types of graphics, and the styles of the templates and so on, they're really adhering more towards a professional. If you're, let's say, have a big shop or a retail store and so on, mom and pop shop, you're probably not going to really like our tool for the templates and the assets that you have. But if you're serving other businesses, you're consulting or any type of professional setting, you're going to see more of the stuff that you're looking for in our platform. So the other part is that we do have a certain level of support that goes above and beyond a lot of others. We have a really good support team and continual tutorials and information we put out as far as how to use the platform, different things to do with it, and so on. So those are some of the things that we have. But we do really feel that we sit in the middle. So if you were to put, let's say, Adobe on the right and then let's say Canva on the left side, although that gray area is a little bit less gray, we do fall into that space where you get the best of both worlds, essentially.